Here in New England and the rest of the country, for that matter, around the world. Yeah. Tampa Bay plays against Kansas City this evening on CBS. How about that, Keith?
Yeah, it should be a really good game. Good offensive show, I hope. But Tampa's got that great D.
They certainly do. Keith, it's been Radio Row all week long in Tampa. Not as crowded as years past,
right.
But there's a guy down there that's coming onto the phones with us right now. Let me just give you a little intro on him.
Yeah.
He is an NFL alumni member of the Carolinas chapter. He's a survivor of the September 11th World Trade Center attacks.
Really? Wow.
The Las Vegas Mandalay Bay shooting.
Oh, wow.
Guy's got to have 9 lives here.
Yeah.
He has shared his compelling story speaking at events and conferences all over the country.
Right.
And he goes all over the place right now. Let me try that last part. And he goes all over the place and dedicates his time to many charities affiliated with the NFL and Major League Baseball. And we happen to have the one and only Mike Dempsey. How are you, Mike?
Gary, I'm doing well. How you guys doing today?
Good, Mike. Good morning.
Mike, it's Super Bowl Sunday. You've done these before. What's this one like compared to the past ones?
Just a different vibe to it. It's mixed because Tampa Bay, this is the first time a city has actually hosted the Super Bowl where the team has been. So there's a lot of buzz and excitement. A lot of New England friends down here that I've seen all week. Johnny Damon, David Ortiz, Irish Mickey Ward.
Ooh.
So I see a lot of big New England contingent down here. I guess big Tom Brady fans is a really big buzz, but just different because the media, you see where you're doing Zoom meetings in the hotel rooms. You don't see the players out there. There's a lot of sensitivity because of what's going on in the world right now. So that has definitely made this the most unique Super Bowl that I think that we'll ever see in our history. So it's definitely, but I'm glad they're doing something. I think the country needs this game, this experience, and just having the excitement. It takes our minds away from what's going on in the world right now. So I really do think how the NFL has handled the season has been really great, and I can't say anyone could have done it any better than them.
I agree with that. I think they put the other professional sports leagues to shame. You compare what the NFL has done compared to the NBA, for instance. It's just night and day. NFL handles it really well.
Now, Mike, you do the charities for the NFL and Major League Baseball. Are you actually doing charities within this week itself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing Johnny Damon. This past week, we had Johnny Damon Foundation annual event we do, and David Ortiz, obviously, last night raising money for his David Ortiz Foundation, doing some great work, and just, it's funny going to baseball events during the NFL Super Bowl week, but, it's just everybody's out here just trying to raise money. The NFL alumni had their golf outing early in the week, and everyone's just trying to do some things to raise awareness and keep people thinking about how to help others, and that's what it's all about. Is times like this, the pandemic, a lot of fundraising and charities have suffered. So I think it's really time to get back to helping others and paying it forward.
You do champion lots of different causes. I know you are training. You're actually training to fight Jerry Cooney this summer.
Yeah, that sound.
Jerry's my dear friend for 10, 15 years, and, Jerry is, I'm turning 50 this year, he's turning 65, so I figured the older he gets, the better chance I have actually getting a ring with him. But no, Jerry still throws a great left hook, and he can go to the body like nobody else. But we decided to really make his charity fight night that he does every year, get him in the ring one last time. I think his last real match was against Reverend George Foreman. 1990, he lost in the second round by knockout, but he did throw. George Foreman did share with me that the hardest punch he ever took in his career was from Jerry Cooney. So I believe George when he says that, and I think Jerry may want a little redemption and fight a guy with the last name of Dempsey, thinking I'm Jack's descendant or relative, and it's fine with me. I'm just honored to do something, but honestly, we're doing this to raise money for underprivileged kids in New Jersey, and really support Jerry's kids. It's what he's done, mentored these kids, and they'll be there that night. And we have, Johnny Damon in my corner. I don't know what Johnny's going to do except throw in the towel, kind of for Irish Mickey Ward.
You got Mickey in your corner. Wow.
Yeah, Mickey is amazing. I was just telling a friend of mine earlier how just learning the game from him has
Yeah.
been just an absolute pleasure. We have Doc Gooden coming out to support this. Vinny Pazienza, another New England
Paz.
legend, and Vinny might be my stunt double if I need, because I know Vinny can still throw at his age. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Tracy Morgan, we even have comedians there, Sopranos guys, a lot of guys come out every year. But the way the boxing community supports each other, and that's like the NFL. We all support each other, reciprocation. They took care of me a very long time ago, and I only had a cup of coffee with the league. And the fact that I'm still connected to the NFL alumni chapter all these years later, and I support what they're doing, they support what I'm doing, is such an amazing privilege. And the boxing community is very much the same. So just happy to be doing something. Feel great health. I still got to get some boxing technique and make sure we put on a great show for everybody. Larry Holmes is said he's going to be in
the Eastern Assassin.
Yeah, the Eastern Assassin. I thought I was going to have. I supported Larry all these years at all his events, and he tells me he wants to be in Jerry's corner. I said, what about me? I need the help. Jerry doesn't need the help, but Larry's going to be there, and he's such a great man too. He just turned 70 this past year. And his wife Diane, they do some great work with their Heart of a Legend charity, and like I said, we all help each other out on all these events that we do around the country, and make sure we're definitely out there promoting the purpose, not just that we're having a fight night, but why are we doing the fight night? And that's what the real message is, to help others. Like my daughter, we do our show. I have a podcast with her called Dads and Daughters, and we try to show my daughter who has autism, is using the platform to raise the fact that kids with abilities beyond disabilities. And she is, obviously doing some great work and around promoting kindness, acceptance, humility, and love, and trying to promote positive messages and helping others. And that's what I try to teach her as life skills. It's not just about building her confidence, but also helping the other kids in her network and being a peer support person that can help others through her story. And my story, if it can inspire one person, I've done my job.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Were you always like that? I mean, your playing days, were you conscientious of a lot of the things that you're discussing right now? I mean, you're a professional athlete. You focused on that, but obviously you had something going on that you were just thinking of others all the time.
Well, so we also have addictive personalities as athletes. We have the type A. I think, I was talking earlier this morning on a show more around, recovery. I had painkiller issues myself, after my ACL surgery, and I wanted to get back. I wanted to, before I was ready. I went from Tampa, tried Calgary with the CFL, and then obviously ended with Tampa. But I wasn't ready physically. I was popping these painkillers, the oxycodone, hydrocodone, like all these painkillers that they give you, like it's just like medication over the counter, and it was bad. And that was the addiction part of me that and I'm with a gentleman from the Buccaneers, Randy Grimes, who was living proof that you can rebound from, be resilient and come back from that. But, we all just have these addictive personalities. Getting in the ring at my age is part of that addictive personality. I need something to focus on. I played baseball in tournaments all over the country. That doesn't die. When you get older, you just got to keep doing something. Maybe I'll take up golf after boxing, after my one big match happens, and do something a little more. But I think I'm always going to find that competitive. I don't know what's next. I'm not going to do any UFC fights. I can promise you that. Just something that I don't get hurt, because I think as you get older, we're definitely more prone to. But it's been just a great journey, and just something that the bucket list item, being in the ring with somebody who I have had so much admiration for. And if I can come out of it and without a broken nose, then I did something pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so many different things you touched upon. I had an oodles of questions, but one that just jumped at me: how easy or the accessibility of those painkillers in the NFL? Was it honestly like it was portrayed in the movie North Dallas 40? It was just like a candy store pharmacy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can tell you, I lived in Tampa, lived in a community with some of the other guys that played on the team, and I'll tell you, I don't even think I had a prescription.
Wow.
I just got them. I just got them through a couple other teammates or guys that were on the team. I mean, it was so accessible. Now there's obviously more regulations around it, and because they realize how addictive it is. And back in the day, it was just something to help you so we can get back on the field or do something. It was so out there, just like steroids were back in the day, too. I would say that I did obviously things in college that, just to get bigger.
Sure.
You wanted to be the biggest linebacker and, kind of, out there and took stuff to enhance I'd be lying if I said I didn't do that. I mean, that was something that everybody did. And
Right.
then I tried professional wrestling briefly for about a week in 1995 up in Atlanta with the WCW. They had a thing called the Power Plant.
Yep.
And I had to get big again for that. I didn't last much long with that. That was a very short tenure. Taking body slams is not something for a guy who was broken up from playing football. So,
Right.
fortunately, my professional wrestling career lived and died in Atlanta, Georgia. I came back to Tampa. But, yeah, I mean, I've always I just love playing sports. But, doing things like painkillers and other things, that was just so out there back in the day. And now it's a little more regulated, but...
Mike, when you were up in Calgary, did you play with Flutie? Or was that after?
Jeff Garcia was with
Jeff Garcia,
back
okay.
in the yeah. I was just telling my PR lady that it was funny because Jeff, he remembered me. I saw him last year, and like guys that could remember something 20. I can't remember what he did yesterday. The fact that he had that memory of when I was up there, brief time.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson was up there too. The Rock at
How
the
about
same
that?
time, and I don't think Dwayne would remember me or even. But it was. I just remember Calgary because that's where the wrestling family, the Bret Hart, I remember going to the house and checking out where they lived. But I was up there for, I think, literally a week, and that was the end of never been to Calgary ever since. But that door shut pretty quickly on me because, again, I wasn't ready. When you have a fully torn ACL, meniscus, just think about the recovery even these days in 2021. Can take you 9 months to a year.
Right.
You think about back in the day when we didn't have that same kind of physical training rehab. They could try to get back out there less than a year from the time of the injury, which is I don't know what I was thinking. But when we're young, we think we're invincible. So I
know
tried
that.
to be the invincible guy.
I got you on that one.
Mike, I want to ask one more question because I know you're cut for time, and I know that we're going to be speaking with a buddy of yours by the name of Ryan Grimes after this interview. But I wanted to ask you, how is it that a guy like yourself, or anybody for that matter, that gets caught up in 9/11. You were there. Your wife was supposed to be there. I know that because I did my background research. And then the shooting out there at Mandalay Bay in Vegas.
I'm either in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time. I've always said I'm either lucky or unlucky. I think I'm lucky to have been survived. Obviously, there's a reason for everything. I don't get spiritual from time to time on it, but I do think there's a reason why I was there. I was out there that weekend in Vegas just doing a show for my friend, Animal Planet, Tank. My friend Brett happened to be out there. I was just staying there the weekend and going to Scott Baio's golf outing the next day in Los Angeles. I was, and happened to be meeting up with a friend outside the Mandalay Bay Hotel when I heard pop, pop, pop. And it was, I didn't know there was a concert. No idea what Route 91 festival even was. I don't follow country music, so I knew there was a hockey game earlier that night. And, the social media blew up on my phone about what was going on, and it was just brought back a lot of unpleasant memories from 9/11, being in the World Trade Center when all that stuff happened that day, and definitely, but using it, I've now channeled a lot of what I went through to help other communities. I've helped out Parkland, their shooting community survivors, and did an event out there a couple of years ago to help them and with what they're dealing with, and all these communities, Columbine, Boston, Boston Marathon bombing, and connected to that community. Just bringing these communities together to help each other, I think for me, that's what I've always tried to promote is peer support. When you can do that, I think a lot of people are going to benefit out of it that need help.
That's great.
Mike, do us a favor and do all our listeners a favor. Tell us a podcast, how they can watch that or follow that.
Well, anybody who has Facebook, it's the Dads and Daughters Show. We do a Facebook Live. It's on YouTube. It's on a number of different networks up in the New York area, Cablevision, BronxNet, a few Twitch TV. But for the social media community, it's definitely Facebook Live, Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. We do it, and we had Nick Swisher on a few weeks ago. We had Johnny Damon's a frequent guest. So we have a lot of cool, but we're really trying to promote, obviously, good causes and talk about, and seeing the journey of my daughter and some of the experiences she's had with cheerleading and doing some cool things in her life. And it's definitely not boring. I can tell you that if you watch the show, Gary, I know you have is definitely something that it moves pretty quickly. We cover a lot of ground, and it's always definitely a lot of content that will not put you to sleep.
Well, you know what? I was just given the signal. I can ask one more thing, if that's okay. You know, Mike, that I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I love my Steelers. I know you love the Steelers, too. So what are the chances of getting some of those Steeler guys coming on our show in the future?
They do our best. I mean, hopefully, I know Jerome Bettis supports a great foundation. Donnie Shell, I've already been in contact. I think you might get Donnie on your show pretty quickly. Wow. And there's just some great guys. Franco Harris is my favorite. I got to tell you, what an amazing person Franco is. And I miss him this year because he usually has his Super Bowl party going on. And he's not down here this week. But, it's the Steelers community. There's a lot of great guys that are around, and Charlie Batch is one of my favorites too. And he was a quarterback, and there's so many great players for those teams. And it definitely followed. Look, I'm a long-suffering Jet fan, and I'll never. But the Steelers, at least I got to see a Super Bowl win over the Cowboys, 35-31 was my first game I ever watched. Jackie Harris dropped that pass in the end zone with Starback and Bradshaw, and I see Terry every year. Haven't seen him this year, but Terry's just an amazing guy, character, and we love the Steelers.
Hey, quick question to wrap it up, Mike. Who wins? KC or the Bucks?
I got to go with Tampa.
There it is.
Mahomes is. I knew Patrick since he was a young guy. His dad played for the Mets, and I got to know him. I feel old now that I knew Patrick when he was really a kid. Lee Steinberg is his agent, so I hope Patrick has a great game, and I'm really rooting for him to do well out there. But I got to go with Tampa. I mean, this is where I started my whole journey. Was in Tampa, Florida, back in 1995. So. Got to go with Tampa and see them go out on a good note. They have a great fan base here, and they deserve it. So I'm rooting for the Bucks.
There you go. Mike Dempsey, thank you very much for coming on. You are full of just like so many different things in your life. You've done it all.
Yeah. You're an interesting guy.
Well, there's a lot more to do. I'm still young. Don't forget that, Gary.
Oh, I know.
He sounds like a kid.
Mike, the thing is, we're going to get you up into the studios when you're up here in New England. We're going to do a pose-off because you're fit. My brother Keith is fit, and I do my best to stay up with him.
There we go. Pose-off. Good luck against Cooney. Take him out. Take him out, Mike.
We're gonna raise money so that we can pick up some chicks down at the old age home. All right. All right, Mike Dempsey, thank you again for coming on, and good luck with everything.
I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
WMEX Quincy, Boston, streaming on the radio.com app.